Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Sinead, and today I'll be talking about some advice for high school juniors and seniors.
This couldn't happen again.
If you guys follow me on Instagram, you'll know that I got into NYU, and I'll be starting there this fall. And I applied early decision 1, and I was notified in December that I would be attending the Clive Davis Institute at Tisch School of the Arts for recorded music. So I'm super excited to be a part of NYU, and I wanted to talk about some of the things that I went through and some advice that I want to give to you guys if you're looking at applying to universities. So I live in Toronto, and that would make me an international student. And applying to the US as an international student can be quite daunting, actually. There's a lot of stuff that you have to go through that's different from regular US citizens, and there's also not as many opportunities for things like scholarships or financial aid. So I'll be going over 5 tips that I think are the most important if you want to get into your dream school. Regardless of whether it's in the US or in Canada or somewhere else. So tip number 1, start planning early. So right now it's April, and last year in April I had just finished my SATs. It was the first time I took it, and I knew that I wanted to take it once, and then if it was really bad I would take it again, but I was aiming to take it once, only because one, it's really expensive to take it, especially if you're an international student, because you have to pay the international fee as well, and it's like $300, I'm pretty sure. And then 2, it's a 4-hour exam. Like, I was sitting in that chair and I remember I just wanted to die at the end of the exam. So I really didn't want to sit through another 4-hour exam ever. So I got my scores back and I was happy with it. So I started looking at different universities that I was going to apply for. So I knew that I wanted to do music production and music tech. And there aren't a lot of programs like that in Canada. Like, the only 2 programs that I know of are the Build Your Own Major program at the Faculty of Music at McGill, and then there's the U of T Music Technology program, but that's a master's degree, so that was not an option for me. So I looked mostly at schools in the States, and I basically just Googled top music production schools, and then they came up with like a top 10 list, and I just applied for the first 5. And I just hoped that someplace would take me. In the summer, I went to Berkeley, Valencia, and Berkeley had been my first choice school for a long time, just because I had a lot of friends that went there, and it has like an amazing reputation, obviously, because it's Berkeley. And I had a really fun time on my trip, and I met so many really talented musicians, but I realized that I don't fit into that environment. Like, I want to focus more on production, and Berkeley is very much a performance school, so I kind of decided to change my first choice to NYU, and that's where I decided to apply early decision. The thing is, if you want to apply early decision, you have to start planning in the summer. A lot of schools, they'll ask for supplements, they'll ask for essays, or you'll have to put together, like if you're an arts program, you'll have to put together a portfolio like I did, and that takes a lot of time. Like, that's not something you can just rush and then put it together last minute. So if you're planning on applying early decision or early action, I recommend that you decide that around like July, August, and then start your application process as soon as possible. So for my program, Tisch actually recommends that you submit your Common App 1 month before the actual deadline, and the early decision deadline was November 1st, which meant I had to have my Common App in by October 1st, which is literally a month after school starts. So I had to finish my Common App before school even started, and it just frees up so much of your anxiety of not having a good essay, because you've already got it done and you can just get other people to read it. I got my friends to read it, I got my teachers to read it, and I also sent it to some family friends that I knew. And then afterwards, I focused just on my portfolio for October, and then I handed that in. So that also leads me to tip number 2, which is picking a Common App essay topic. This is one of the most daunting things, I think, because we all know that the Common App for US universities is super, super important. And even if you're applying to, let's say, universities in Canada, they'll still ask for those essays like, why do you want to come to our school? What makes you unique? And it's really important to pick a topic that makes you stand out. So here are some of my tips on how to do that. So for the Common App, there's 6 prompts, I think, and I'll put them up right here. And these 6 prompts basically allow you to write whatever you want. There's even a prompt that's literally write an essay about your own prompt. So it's important that you pick a topic that you are genuinely interested in and it showcases who you are. Also, if you're writing from the Common App prompts, keep in mind that there are certain prompts that people pick every year. And I think there's a stat that shows which prompts were chosen, like the percentage for each year, which I'll put up right here. And the prompt that I picked was what makes you lose track of time, and who or what do you turn to learn more about it. And that's one of the least common prompts that are picked. That's one of the reasons why I chose it, but it wasn't the main reason why I chose that prompt, and I'll talk about that after. But for other universities in general, you want to keep in mind that the essay has a prompt that a lot of people will probably turn to, and it'll be like the easier one or like the more obvious choice. And try to pick the other one. Try to pick the less obvious choice or the harder question, because that'll make your application stand out. Like if you're reading 200 essays about people who went on trips somewhere and how they learned from that trip, it's not gonna stand out very much from an essay that's maybe about instant noodles. So I wrote my essay about my love for contemporary art. I'm the kind of person who will go to the art gallery and I literally love to look at the one shade paintings or the really weird abstract ones that nobody really understands, and that's not something that everybody likes. So I wanted to talk about why I liked that, and I could also connect a lot of philosophy, which is something that I always wanted to minor. So I talked a lot about contemporary art, aesthetics, and philosophy. The one other tip I'll say is come up with a good title for your essay. So mine was Gongs, Sunrises, and Aesthetics, which are 3 pretty unrelated things. And if you guys want, I can make a separate video where I read my Common App. So if you want that, comment down below. So try to pick an essay topic that highlights who you are, but also what makes you different from everybody else. Tip number 3 is apply for scholarships. So if you're going to school in the US, it's expensive, really expensive. NYU is insanely expensive. What I did was, in junior year, I started looking at different scholarships that I could apply for, and what I found is that for high school students, there aren't that many scholarships, especially if you're an international student, because scholarships don't usually carry over the border. So if you're applying for scholarships where one of the eligibility requirements is you have to be a Canadian citizen, then you can only use that in Canadian schools, and vice versa for US. So I'm not a US citizen, so it was really hard to find scholarships that I could apply for and then bring to the US. So what I did was, in junior year, I would Google scholarships for high school students, and then I would click on all the links of the websites that compile all the scholarships for you, like scholarships.com or Scholarships Canada if you're Canadian. I'll go on these websites and I'll open every single scholarship in a different tab and then look at the eligibility requirements, and if I know I'm not eligible, I'll close those immediately, and then I'll keep looking through which ones would suit me. And there are also specific scholarships for specific majors, for example. So I applied for some like music scholarships or like fine arts scholarships, and I also applied for some that are for like women. So there's a lot of scholarship options out there for private scholarships especially. So just go and like apply to as many scholarships as you can, and you'll get some back. Like I got a $5,000 scholarship just last month, and I really wasn't expecting to get that. And if you've already gotten your acceptance, you can even apply for ones under your like school that you're going to. So like now I can use my NYU email, and I can say that I'm enrolled at a school in the United States, which makes it easier for me to apply for certain scholarships. Okay, tip number 4 is attend open houses, info sessions, and ask questions at those events. So universities have a whole bunch of events, from the open houses where you actually go and you like see the school, to online info sessions, or sometimes big US universities will do like a tour. So they'll go to every city and have an info session there. So like NYU had one downtown at, I think, Sheridan Hotel. And the reason you want to go to those is because you want to meet those admissions officers, and talking to them is a lot better because it makes a really good impression of you. And I always try to go up to the admissions officers, even if I don't have a question, just to say hi, and maybe they'll tell you something that you didn't even know about the campus or the school or your major. And it's really, really helpful to do that. Another place to meet admissions officers is college fairs. So I know like Toronto has huge college fairs. They have like a Canadian one, they have a US one downtown, and it's this huge like expo. And I also went to the performing arts fair in University of Michigan, so we actually drove down to Michigan and went to that one. Also, sometimes universities will visit schools, and that's also another way of really getting to meet them and talk to them about the school that you want to apply to. One other thing I'll say is that ask for their business card. So you never know when you'll want to contact them, and it's a really good way to connect with them and stay in touch. And also, if you have a business card, then make sure you give it to them, because that'll make them remember you. So yeah, that's a really great way to make a good impression on admissions officers. And tip number 5, this one is more general, and it's enjoy your time in high school. So right now, like with the whole coronavirus thing going on, I realized that this is basically the end of my senior year. Like this is my last time in high school before I literally moved to a different city. And it's just kind of sad because I thought I would be spending this time at school and like celebrating all these like grad events, and going to all these like parties and like prom and stuff, and like all of that is just not really happening anymore. So just if you're a high school junior or senior, like take advantage of the time that you have with your friends and at school in that environment, because like you'll never get it back again. And like who knows when you'll see all of your high school friends in the same room again, you know? So really cherish the time that you have and have fun, you know? It's high school. Okay guys, that's it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys want to see a part 2, or you want me to talk more about NYU or my program, be sure to leave a like and subscribe down below. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!
This couldn't